Welcome back to the land of Wub Wub. We are here joined by Muffin Cutie from Vulcan in his lovely new swag as well. The Vulcan Command shirts are on. Muffin Cutie, straight away, congratulations for the win. Let's talk about... We won't go to the Baron fight just yet. I know you want to talk about that. We'll leave that towards the end because Freak's getting excited about that a bit as well. Let's go through the picks and bans to start with between these guys. Immediately, Mandatory Cloud was allowed in Italy. We've talked about it a few times before that this normally gets banned against them. Was it straight away? It's like... Take it.
Yeah, we had. If they were going to leave it up for us, we were going to pick it no matter what. We were kind of surprised that they didn't ban it because it's usually a contested pick between us and CLG. And us is actually, it's actually usually a contested pick between us and a lot of teams. But they left it up, so we took it. And then after that, everything just kind of went as we planned. We expected them to do the top Karthus again.
What with Needly makes it so good for you guys?
Cloud just never misses, I guess. if he's in a spot where he can just keep farming like he was that game, even though we had to move around a lot during the early game to like get away from like 2v1s and stuff like that. He was just able to farm and then get enough AP, and we took it to late game, which sucks to do against CLG because they're so good at late game, but he had enough AP to really make it worth it. It
seemed like your team didn't even, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't feel like to me like your team was really built around him that much. It was like he's the poke guy and you just got other champions.
Yeah. That's how we kind of usually play with poke champs mid. He just gets people low, and then after that, team fights are pretty simple. You can really play anything around just like a poke-oriented mid lane because they're good in team fights just because they can start them off by poking.
I mean, did you think, obviously, once you got that, you got the first turret down the bottom, you switched up to the mid. Was there any sort of part of you thinking, should we just go top to keep the pressure on top because we can hold this mid lane against double lift? Because Link was kind of their split pusher, effectively, not hotshot.
Yeah, we were kind of like, that was the one part where I'm usually the one who kind of decides where we go after towers are killed in 2v1s, and I was kind of like, well, this is kind of a hard decision, exactly what you said. Like, I couldn't really decide right off the bat, and so we just decided with what we went with, and I think it could have been better. I think we could have decided better, or at least I could have decided for us to do better, but I think it worked. I mean, the early game went kind of well, except for what happened top lane when I went in on that bad initiate, and then they both TP'd and we died. That was the only, like, really big mess up in the early game.
Okay, we want to talk about the Baron fights. There was a few of them.
Oh, okay. Well, they got a few Barons. We fought for them once, yeah.
There was a few of them around there. Yeah, they did get a few Barons. It seems to be all about a matter of positioning. There was a lot of dancing going on. You guys tried to rush up the mid. They rushed around the side.
Yeah.
Then it suddenly looked like, oh, we're going to have a base race. We got a little excited. I did as well. But it didn't quite happen. You guys managed to back off. The Requiem came out. Were you thinking, oh, God, because they got the inhibitor off that, and it was just suddenly it was... you know, backs to the walls.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in that position before where we ended up sticking into a base race and all of a sudden we realized, oh, we're not going to win it. I mean, we had, our reasoning to go for that immediately was that we had Nidalee for attack speed heal and Tristana who can just mow through towers with that much AD and quick and her Q. But then we realized that we had to go through 2 towers when they only had to go through our 1 inhibitor one, and the inhibitor one had already had like, I don't know, like 500 damage taken off it. So then we decided we need to go back, and at that point, we realized, oh, he can just Requiem and stop a lot of us, so we were just kind of like, this is it. We may have just lost the game. And we were able to come back and keep them from pushing too far into our base, just because I think we were stronger just like in 5-on-5s. But once they got Baron, we had to stall and then just continue on from there.
So are you sort of the main strategy caller then for the team? On days like where you go.
On days when I have my coffee, yes. That's about it.
When you win, you are.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
That's good. So what goes in your mind then when you're deciding like where we go on the map?
A lot of times right now with the whole 2v1 situation, if we're in the aggressive standpoint, we can decide to go into the lane to keep pushing, or alternatively, if you want to stay and hold your towers, you can put your 2 against their 2 to make sure that they can't push. For that game, it was basically just we want to have, since they have Ezreal and we have Tristana, we clearly have the late game hyper carry. So we just want to keep Tristana in a lane where she can constantly keep farming. That way, if it goes to 50 minutes, Tristana just can out DPS everything with level 18 range.
And let's talk about the final Baron fight, because that was really the big one. The Mandatory Cloud obviously caught the spear and hot shot. Straight away, it was a case of, we can kill him. Immediate reactions came out. Psycho Sid obviously landed the Eclipse across him. But you want to talk about the hook. That's what you want to talk about.
I was really excited about that, yeah. Well, Link came in and started channeling his ulti, but had his Zhonya's almost immediately, because I think it was Zuna that DPS'd him down really, really fast. And then I was literally, I think maybe less than in 1-digit health. Like, I don't know if you go and watch it.
Yeah.
I was in
There was
1-digit
no
health.
health bar.
I was surprised that I was alive, and I actually had to acknowledge to myself that, oh my, I'm still alive. and so I saw that he was about to come out of Zhonya's, and I was like, I need to land this hook immediately as he comes out of Zhonya's, so he can't like shunpo or anything, because I wasn't quite sure what abilities he had up, and I landed it just as he came out. And I mean, that wasn't necessarily what won us the fight, but I think it may have kept us from losing the fight.
How much have you played Thresh then? You seemed really good.
I'm okay with them. I play them a lot in scrims and stuff, but typically in like LCS matches it either gets banned or picked out by the other team, so I've just been playing a lot of Sona. It's actually refreshing to be able to play anything, like Thresh.
Do you think he's sort of like the most contested support? Now, you said Nidalee like first pick right away,
Yeah.
but Thresh seems great.
Yeah, Thresh is pretty amazing. I mean, Lantern is an amazing ability, and Q on Thresh is kind of like a Blitzcrank hook, but I think I don't know, it's kind of better because you can bring yourself in, and then it sets you up really nicely if you want to go in with like Box and his E. It's a really good combo. I think Thresh is probably one of the best supports right now.
Yeah, I mean, Edward certainly thinks so.
Yeah.
So coming into this, you've only had one match this week. How much of an advantage do you feel that you've had probably over COG, the fact that you've had just this one game to prepare for coming into this game, whereas COG have obviously had to face Dignitas, TSM, and then you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a pretty good advantage, especially because they lost their 2 games already, and so COG kind of is the team to go on tilt, and so since we're their last game that they could play, they may not be as good as they should be. Take it how it is, but I mean, we only had the one game to play, so even if we played games before, we don't have that pressure of like, oh, we lost all week, and now we have to play CLG.
So I want to take a step back and actually compare you to Aframu in this game. So I saw the post-game screen. He had 11,000 gold. You had 12,000. He's got Mikhail's Crucible and a Runic Bulwark, and you've got a Ruby Sightstone and like boots. So you really just spend 10,000 gold on wards?
Yes, wards and oracles. As soon as I get like Doran Shield. If I get really not really far ahead, but if I get any sort of lead early, I'll go like 2 gold items. Like I'll go Cages and Philo. Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And then I just start buying oracles and wards. Just that's all I get is oracles and wards. Just because if we have late game damage with like Tristana and Italy, I can just ward everything. And as long as we have superior vision, I feel like that's better than going like with big ticket items like Shirelias or Crucible.
So I guess you sort of answered it, but just to put it into exact words, when would you go for a more actual item build on support?
Like to build like Runic Bulwark and stuff like that?
Like real items.
Probably never. The only item that I would ever really buy, I think, would be Zeke's, just because it's kind of easy to get to, and it's really good if you have like your AD carry, and if you have a jungler that benefits from it too. There are even team comps where like all 4 of your teammates can benefit from Zeke's, and that's usually the only big ticket item I would get.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining Muffin Cutie. Congratulations
Thank you.
on your victory, of course. It is going to be time for our final match of the day, which will be Dignitas versus Complexity. This is another pair of teams that are close buddies, but in the end, it's still a competition. Watch this.
Dignitas is a really scary team. All 5 of their people look like the best of their position. They're so solid throughout their entire game.
We're really good friends. We lived with each other for 1 month. They took me into their house.
They live with us, so we're really good friends. They give us tips, and they want us to get better.
I feel like they get nervous, and they don't play as well as I see them sometimes.
We're all pretty nervous going into every game, considering our record.
It's really not a question of who you can target. It's like, can we kill all of them?
We're just really good friends, but when it comes to game time, we're still just another competition.
Well, last week, Complexity stole the win from Dignitas, but Skara and the boys seem to be back on track after yesterday's mauling of CLG.
Yeah, and this is just like the last match we saw. It's the 3rd time these 2 teams have met. In the first one, I mean, you just mentioned a mauling against CLG. It was probably even more brutal the first time these guys met back in Super Week. I think it was one of the early games there. And Dignitas just dismantled the heck out of these guys. 20-minute game, 0 kills, kills in the teens, 14-0. It was brutal. And that kind of just all came from Crumbs ganking like a boss. The second time they matched, Crumbs still ganked like a boss, but Laudamortis was there time after time, back-to-back double kills.
Yeah, it's definitely these. It worked out well from him. 4-0 straight away at the start of the game. You can see 4-0-7 as Cho'Gath. So really picked up all of those kills within probably the first 6 or 7 minutes of the game. And that just set the pace for the rest of the match. Really working very well. And is that down to purely skill, or is that down to simple game knowledge of knowing, okay, this is happening here, so probably chances are they're going to try and attempt to gank here.
It's a mix of both. So I actually went back and watched the game. And so the first actually double kill he got was in the bottom lane, and Crumbs just found a free gank. They killed MIA for free, and then Crumbs waited around saying, well, we can re-dive in 2-on-1 Brunch U. And the entire time, Lattimore just like walking from top lane, like all the way across the map, and saying, if you show up, we'll be there. And Brunch U barrier baited Crumbs. Crumbs basically overextended, said, okay, 2 hits to go, 1, that's barrier, shoot. And Lattimore just cleaned it up, and he got the trade kill back onto, I believe it was Hot Shot, and just landed Ruptures, landed red buff kills. The second one was in the top lane, and that was actually more of a counter gank. He actually more predicted it, and he was there right as the gank happened, landed a 2-man Rupture, like just everything was amazing, and he just straight cleaned up that one. So, you know, he's definitely reading the situation. You can call it, like I've seen guys look for a counter gank, then no one shows up. They're just kind of AFK in a brush, like, oh, no one's here, never mind. So it can be a mix, but he was reading those.
Yeah, and of course, Complexity, though, they did lose the Marn today. We saw Nick Wu was a little bit devastated about it, whereas Dignitas coming into this one, they're already 2-0 up. And, you know, they are coming into this game just absolutely oozing with confidence.
And it's interesting because you mentioned, again, Complexity 0-2 so far. I actually sat down next to Nick Wu right as one of the recaps was playing, and it was like the recap of the fight between Complexity and TSM, where like he could have just like one-shot Wild Turtle and chose Reginald, and he's just sitting there like, dude, I was next to Caitlyn. Like, she was right there. I was in range for the ultimate. He would have gotten one shot, and we would have won the fight. And was just, like, kind of beating himself up over it. And so last game we mentioned CLG, and in the interview with Muffin Cutie, he said, yes, CLG tends to tilt, and they tend to screw up a little bit more than they would normally. They lose some games. And for Complexity's sake, I hope they don't do the same thing and kind of tilt on themselves and say, why did we do that? And, like, keep the game in the back of your head the entire time.
The greatest thing for that, though, is Nick Wu is learning from that mistake.
Sure.
You know, Dyrus talked about it earlier. You learn a lot from the losses, of course, and hopefully that is what they've done. Let's check out the lineups, of course. On the blue team, it is going to be Dignitas in the top lane for them. Kiwi Kid has been really unstoppable so far. Crumbs in the jungle, Skara in the mid lane, I'm a Cutie Pie, and Patoy, who's been pulling out some special things so far this weekend.
That support at least was really, really strong. You can steal that one away. And of course, on the red side, we do have Complexity. Nick Wu in the top lane, talked about him. Lattimore in the jungle, talked about him as well. Brunch U up in the mid. Brunch U in mid. Chuper up in mid. I read well. Brunch U and MAA on AD and support.
I'm glad you know the positions better than I do. What could possibly go wrong this weekend? Luckily, though, it is the last game of the day, the last game of the week, and we've seen some pretty incredible action-packed matches so far. We almost hit an hour there in that game as compared to the first game of the day, of course. What are we thinking from this one? Will be Dignitas going all full throttle. They want to take it 3-0, of course. Complexity, they want to get a win this weekend.
They really do, and they do have what it takes. Again, they have to kind of, they need a strong early game to make it work. Crumbs has been aggressive kind of forever. Dignitas, when you look pretty much at all their wins, it's been a lot of early moves, a lot of great openings, and it's always been off of Crumbs, right? We interviewed the players, and they talked about how they play the early game, where they just feed him information, they tell him what cooldowns are up, who's burned their flash, who's got cleanse, where the lane is, and they can ask for ganks, and then Crumbs makes choices, and he starts everything. Now, what'll be interesting is if Complexity knows that, and again, they said it on air in an interview, if they know that, then Lattimore just can be there to counter gank. They can say, guys, we're overextended bottom lane, they're going to go for us. I know that Crumbs knows about this. Wait in the tri-brush, come counter gank for us, and that can happen. So we'll see if they can bait them, who knows, but you know, I think it's just going to be kind of about how well Crumbs ganks go, and if Complexity can turn them around.
I think maybe Lattimore is giving a hint of what champion he may play, just looking at to roll his face across that keyboard.
Sona! Jungle Sona.
That'll be Ryze, surely. That's when you roll your face across the keyboard.
Udyr. There's a couple options out there.
There's a couple of options out there.
Any AD carry, because the buttons
roll,
don't matter.
Roll your head around that keyboard and see which one you see what happens to land, see what happens to work out for them. But Champion Select will be coming up in just a few moments. What are we thinking that bans possibly come out? Draven has been so strong this week. 2-0 today. Didn't get picked in the third game, which is a little disappointing, but nevertheless, Tristana was incredibly strong for Zuna. Do we think Cutie Pie is going to go back towards that, or is he going to stick with Caitlyn like he has this weekend?
Well, he's been grabbing Caitlyn, I think, because Draven's been banned every time. I could be wrong on that.
I think it's available once.
Available once, that's fair. So they've been playing a different style this week, actually, Dignitas, where Cutie Pie's been kind of left alone on Caitlyn, and he's done a very good job, in being a lane bully, and as well as surviving in teamfights. He's had very, very few deaths, had a great performance overall. And the rest of his team tends to go all in. You've had Diana twice from Skara, and they just go for fights. Patoy was on Elise, etc. KiwiKid was on Elise before. So they've been assassinating, again, Elise, Diana, and then QtPie is just safe on his own end on the backside. And I don't see why they changed that strategy. It's worked so far.
Well, we are in towards Champion Select, and amazingly, straight away, will we see a ban come out? What are we thinking? Straight away, Kha'Zix.
Kha'Zix, it makes a lot of sense.
No fun for me today.
Not allowed, sorry. The Diana ban coming through, I'd expect coL as well. The Kha'Zix and Zed bans, those are identical, I believe, to what we saw just not long ago against Complexity. Again, Nikwu Zed, we saw it was scary against TSM. Kha'Zix, one of Chuper's mainstays right now. These make a whole lot of sense. And actually, they're going to ban Caitlyn, so we'll see if Complexity is forced to ban out Draven.
Yeah, and there is going to be an Elise ban, actually, taken away from either KiwiKid or Patoy.
Sure.
It does, of course, mean that Singed is there if KiwiKid
wow.
wants it.
You're right. There's a lot of really high-profile openings. And the thing about Elise as well is she is the sort of default counterpick to Singed. And KiwiKid's been picking Singed like pretty much every time whenever available, unless Elise reared her ugly head and was like, hey, I can counterpick you, bro. Don't go for it. With Elise banned, I mean, they could just steal that away.
Well, they care more about the bear.
They do care about the bear. He's going to give them hugs, and not a very good kind. It's going to hurt for Complexity. Crumbs has had very, very good gank sense and counter gank sense. I remember calling one of those fights in one of the post games, actually, where Crumbs was just waiting for CLG to start a fight, was in the brush, and turned everything around. He's a scary guy. So
is this a case of they left Singed because they purely know that Complexity aren't going to go for it? They know that Nikwu doesn't play that.
Yeah, they know that Loud Mortis really prioritizes more of the tanky junglers. Cho'Gath, Amumu, and Volibear are really his main three, I think, right now. And, so they're not worried about Jarvan, they're not worried about Xin Zhao. But Volibear being sort of the most favored of those picks, it means that KiwiKid's going to grab that first.
Well, let's see what it is going to be for Dignitas. Will they go towards Lulu support, maybe? It is something that has been very popular across. It seems to be like the second fallback. Thresh has definitely seemed to be becoming the main one. And then the Lulu comes in there. It could be an Ezreal Lulu. Could be Draven Lulu.
Yeah, what's interesting as well for Dignitas is Patoy hasn't been grabbing Alistar in a while. And Alistar works really well when you're against an obvious engaged team. When you got a Mumu, you've got Thresh and whatnot. They've got to all pile in out of that one, and you've got like the easiest pulverizes in the world. Dignitas, so they're actually looking at Rumble, despite the fact that, again, they have Singed available, but they actually want that top laner. So we'll see how that pans out.
Well, he went with Rumble last game as well. Seemed to work out very well for him, and there is the Draven login. We are going to have a League of Draven. Varus, of course, is going to get locked in as well to counter that. Has got some good range. Varus has been a champion that really is very, very popular in Europe right now, along with Draven.
He's the control AD carry.
Yes.
It's a little bit more consistent than Ashe is. Ashe has to rely on, well, she has a global ultimate and all that. There's just more damage from Varus. He's got more burst abilities. That Blighted Quiver, of course, helps a lot as well. So it's kind of like 80% Ashe and then like just more damage. So you tend to see him as the go-to control. And we've normally seen them go Varus Rumble. So Rumble was actually a bit of a steal away from Complexity. That I think they would have liked that champion.
Yeah, I think they could have played that in the top lane. As it is, Chupa is potentially going to go with the top laner of choice. It is going to be against the Rumble, and Shen. It is going to be the Shen. Yeah,
Shen is a really big go-to there. When Zed is banned, we normally see Nikwu go to Shen, especially when Rumble's gone as well. No! I take that back. He's going to look for Darius, so he's going to try to dunk on Crumbs' Rumble. They wouldn't send him into a 1v2, so he's going to try to heads up that fight.
So, what is going to be the AP champion they go with here? It's going to be double AP lane, we suspect. I'm pretty sure that is going to be KiwiKid on Rumble in the top lane. What will it be? Will the Gragas come out?
Yeah, that's the most likely one. Those are his three most comfortable mids. Of course, we're talking about Skara here is Diana, coL, Gragas. And whenever teams are trying to ban against Dignitas, they've got to pick, like, which of the three do you want to get rid of, because they're his most comfortable. They work against almost everything. And Gragas also helps keep QtPie alive, having some kind of counter engage or knockback to make sure that you're okay. They do grab the Alistar, so they've got a just gigantic wall of counter engage and disengage to keep QtPie alive on Draven, which is always his biggest difficulty. Is when they get you tend to die, so someone's got to disrupt that.
Do you think if Dignitas top the league, we could maybe persuade OD to get Army QtPie to just dye all his hair ginger and be the Gragas?
Sure.
Sure.
We could try. You know him better than I do. It's up to you, man. Take him out for drinks one night and see if you can convince him.
And who knows what might happen. There is, like you mentioned, the Alistair that Patoy has run quite a lot so far in this championship. And, well, what will they counter it with? It's going to be that mid laner, or we actually suspect if we see Skara on Gragas, generally he's in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he tends to. And on blue side, though, they'd actually have to send him top to give him blue buff, unless they go for a steal. So it's a little bit trickier to send him bottom lane here. For Complexity, though, they've got to sort of realize, like, honestly, they kind of need to pick a teamfight team as well. They've already grabbed the Mumu and Varus, something just with damage output. And that's going to be Ryze. I like that actually a lot. They have pretty good AoE overall, but really good single target focus to give the resets to Nick Wu and start cleaning up fights over and over from there. And honestly, it could work really, really well for them. Both, like, Alistair and Volibear will get low on health, pop their, like, durability things, right? You've got the regen on Volibear, you've got the damage reduction there from Patoy, but the true damage execute from Nick Wu will pretty much beat both of those abilities. So I actually like what Draven's going to do in this team comp, and I think Complexity has a really good team fight here.
Well, they have good team fight, but what worries me is that Dignitas are on all of their comfortable champions. Yeah. They are looking very confident for this, and honestly, I don't think there's anything that's been done to take them out of their comfort zone. Not really.
The only thing that's really different here is that Kiwi Kid is not on Singed. I think it would actually... I feel like Singed would actually work just like slightly better here just because you would split up Complexity, who are just about the 5-on-5 team fight with his composition. But again, Dignitas knows better than I do. Rumble, certainly a very strong champion as well. And it's just funny because both these teams are looking at kind of the same thing. Match treads together, 5-on-5, try to break people down, and the AD carriers are going to kind of shoot from the back lines.
Well, you can see on your screen there is Dignitas, and look how laid back Cutie Pie is. Just complete, having a sip of his drink. He's on Draven. He's going to be happy. He's even putting a grin on his face, reading the little riot sign on the cup.
Of course, man. It's good to be here, of course. The studio, lots of fun. The games here, of course, have been great. Thank you, by the way, for casting every game this week. It's got to be a little strenuous, but...
It's not too bad. I've just done the same in Europe as well. That's the only fair. Switch side. I've just had to cast full on. It's all D-Man week, I think it is. But it's going to be Joe week all in the European LCS. Of course, that's going to be happening 3 a.m., I believe it is, tonight or tomorrow morning, whichever you'd like to call it as. And it's 11 a.m. Central European time. Looking forward to seeing that, actually. I'm not sure if I'm going to quite be able to stay awake for it. That is happening in Lille. But right now, the final game of the day in the North American LCS is about to get underway. It's Dignitas versus Complexity. Here it is. The blue team is going to be Dignitas, and the red team will be Complexity as things get underway. And looking like Dignitas want to go on the invade path.
It's interesting because this is the battle of the teams with lowercase first letters for tags. We don't see that very often, but it's happened here. The ward across the wall actually does come down in time. We've seen a lot of things be tricky in this brush. Their ward doesn't spot it, just like we actually saw last game. The wall actually blocks that pink ward from seeing it, so that ghost ward will actually survive the entire 60 seconds there. But anyway, that brush, we've seen actually a lot of first bloods happen there. I don't know if it was actually MIA himself last time, but it was against TSM, and they managed to grab a kill like right there in that brush.
I can tell you the Dignitas tag has gone through a few evolutions. So we started off as Dig, and we didn't like that. So we went D dot. I think that's what we used to be originally. And now it's just gone D without the dot.
It's fine.
There you go. A little bit of history lesson. MIA actually might well throw out the hook. Instead, he puts the Skara award, I think it's safe to say, on Skara.
Oh, man. Skara. When you watch this VOD, to look back and see if there's anything you guys could have done differently, or just to relish in your success, depending how this game goes, that ward, man, gotta learn it.
You gotta learn it. It's probably one of the funniest videos I've seen it.
He's so disappointed at the end of it too. He's just like, oh, I'm so bad.
No swearing required, just straight up disappointment.
Yeah.
So Skara is going to be going in this bottom lane as we discussed, so he's going to be sticking down there. Does mean he's not going to get that blue buff. Yeah. It is going to be Kiwi Kid going up the top lane. So Cutie Point Patoy in the mid lane as suspected. And what are Complexity going to do to try and counter this? It looks like they're going to put the duo lane in the mid lane themselves.
This is going to be interesting overall. Actually, Nick Wu, I believe with the bleed, stole away the red buff at the top. So Louder Mortis is level 2, but doesn't have it. That actually, I don't think it was on purpose because he specifically stopped attacking Nick Wu there.
Struggling. It's reset once, and he's just struggling out to try and get this one away. MIA now has to come around and tank it out there. Now they've lost vision of it. It's a comedy of areas. And finally, Chupa picks up the blue buff.
There we go. A bit of a blooper by him. He does actually not have many potions left either, to be honest. He's got 1 health potion ticking, 1 left in his inventory. He'll be heads up against Skara. So we have crazy lanes everywhere because a 2-on-2 mid. Nikwu's already chugged a red elixir, and KiwiKid's actually got to be very afraid of a red buff Draven with red elixir.
Well, it is KiwiKid. Oh, I'm a cutie guy getting hooked in there. Brunchu didn't really react to it quick enough, though. He was just simply walking back, chilling. MIA's like, come on, I've caught a big fish here. But nobody wanted to go with it.
And the thing is, QtPie's going to be fine this lane. He's got a red elixir and another 5 health potions still. If they keep going into heads-up fights, like no matter how bad the trade is for Dignitas, they'll eventually win that lane out. So this is going to be a really good lane, I think, for Dig specifically.
So QtPie with those spinning axes. Let's keep our eye and see if he does manage to start building it up. Of course, taking down that siege minion. Has got a minute CS advantage so far, but that's going to stay fairly even, I feel, in this lane. Laudamortis in the jungle, of course. He did fall behind. Or, I tell a lie, he's actually ahead in levels right now because Crumb's still at level 1. He must have had issues with his own. I tell a lie, he's just hit level 2, and now he comes in towards going for the golems.
He did grab both buffs, but I believe he shared experience with Skara the whole way through. I know he did for double golems, and we've actually seen this a lot more at top lane. Oh, KiwiKid, the flash in from Nikwu. Will it be enough burn damage?
I think he will, and it's going to be first blood for Nikwu, working out nicely. So that red buff, despite the fact it may well have been an issue, may well have been a mistake picking it up, it does work out nicely. Patoy has to come in with a headbutt pulverize to save QtPie, who was taking a lot of damage from Brunchu and MIA.
And MIA is going to have to chug a bunch of potions to keep himself alive, but QtPie still has a whole bunch himself. Still 2 in the inventory and 2 ticking off as well, so he will come back to full life. Brunchu, to be fair, has done an amazing job of not taking too much poke, though. Without any sustain, but Adoran's Blade has still burned a lot of QtPie's potions.
Oh, and he's going to go aggressive again. You can see QtPie, he's the one. Headbutt pulverize on towards MIA. The bleed comes down. One more shot will do it, and it's going to be QtPie. And now the exhaust goes down from Patoy. They could turn this on towards Brunchu. Brunchu used to use the barrier to save himself and backs off there. Patoy, beautiful play.
Absolutely great lockup there. Didn't have to use his flash. Did use exhaust to try to save QtPie in that fight overall, but of course it did completely work. Very, very nice initiation by Dignitas.
And you can see Laudamortis is going to come around, but look at don't mess with that bull. He's got some big horns, and now it's going to be Nikwu. They're going to get dived on. Here comes Crumbs, flips him in. He's got siege minions shooting at him, but you can see KiwiKid, he didn't want a piece of that. Manages to go for the harpoon. The flame spinner going down. Can he finish off? One more hit will do it, and it's Crumbs that has to pick up the kill.
That was a great job. The Electro Harpoon actually did land onto Nikwu. He would have gotten out if it didn't hit him because he could just run away from the Volibear, but not this time. They're going on QtPie.
They're going on towards QtPie. Can they finish him off? The hook comes out, but Brunchu's going to get taken down. Patoy picks up the kill. The exhaust comes out there, and still he's going to finally go down, but he buys enough time for QtPie to get away.
That was actually really, really interesting. So QtPie, by the way, did eventually have to flash away from the chasing Laudamortis. Oh, the trade really strong from Cheaper, actually. So QtPie did a pretty good job trying to wait on his summoner cooldown. Did have to burn it. But the thing is, Patoy got an unassisted kill, so only 300 gold. But Complexity got 450 back for an assisted kill.
So it's advantage going to Complexity in that fight, but it is still very close in gold. Look at Crumbs coming around, playing trouble with Nikwu. The Harpoon again going launched out there. Didn't quite connect this time on Nikwu. And he is this time going to be able to clear out and force everyone to go back. So 23 CS to 14. Of course, with that slight advantage, he did get the kill early on the turret, which means he's come back with that Negatron cloak. It's not the Negatron cloak, sorry, it's the
Null Magic Mantle.
Null Magic Mantle. That's the one right there.
So a likely early Hex Drinker from him, going to try to use the attack damage to deal a bunch. QtPie looking for pressure in mid, not getting a ton out of it. So let's kind of break into what's happened in this game. Of course, we're pretty much equal in gold. These lanes are just really, really interesting, though. Both these guys going double mid lends them a lot of jungle pressure. They can easily move their support and AD carry down for any invades. As we get towards 7 minutes, you'll see someone go for a buff steal, and it'll be really interesting because you'll see like a 4-on-4 for it.
Oh, the aggression coming on towards MIA again. He's pulverized into the air. QtPie's going in. One more axe will do it. There he goes. Now it's Brunchu. He gets flipped in. He's in trouble. He's got barrier. It's already been used up, and it's going to be Crumbs that picks that one up. KiwiKid, meanwhile, in the top there. He's getting pressured by Laudamortis.
Amazing play again, just overall by Patoy. His actual headbutt got blocked by the flay from MIA. Great reflexes by him, but still, they're just able to lock him up so much. Draven just chains people down.
They're going for it. They're going to come around the side there. The bandage just not even close from Loudermorris, and I don't think he was maybe going for that one. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But Nick Wu is doing a fantastic job in this top lane. 41 CS to 17. Kiwi Kid's having problems here.
He is. You can just see that the all-in he had at the very, very beginning allowed him to buy a Doran's Blade plus that Null Magic Mantle. Kiwi Kid's having a rough time. Nick Wu actually pink warded the lower brush to make sure he was not getting jungle ganked really at all, and of course could always lead in Loudermorris if he needed to, which makes Kiwi Kid play even safer than normal.
Blue buff will be given to Chupa a bit more safely this time. Skara's waiting off at the side to roll that barrel in towards Brunju. Does have barrier available in just a moment, but oh, MIA is going to get caught out. The big belly slam comes out from Skara, and the explosive cask just melts him where he stands.
And that's what you kind of have when your support has been killed, I guess now 3 times. Only level 4 against a solo laner, you just have so much damage available in those situations.
The apprehend coming out from Nick Wu didn't quite land. Oh, look at this. Crumbs and Patoya sat ready and waiting to go in towards it. Curse of the Sad Mummy comes out, and they're just going to blast him down. He flashes out. Will he be able to escape? Oh, the harpoon landed. That's going to be the death of him, and Kiwi Kid picks up the kill.
Absolutely amazing coordination there by Dignitas. You had the both of them waiting to counter gank. Again, having those 2 guys mid means you can easily roam them across. And now that Complexity sent Rise mid, QtPie is in no danger. He can heads up 1v1 that, but Toy can just roam. He'll be safe. So he was just able to look for the counter gank there and find it. It was a great play.
Great play, and that may well give him the return kill that he needed to try and keep up with Nick Wu, because that lane was in danger of sliding away. Skara currently with the lead down this bottom lane, 59 CS, but he is behind in CS, but Chupa switched around. Chupa's getting aggressed on here, forced to flash away. Crumbs thought about going in towards the turret, but realized obviously it's going to be quickly countered by a Rune Prison.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's one of the best things about Rise, is once he gets just a couple of levels underneath him, he's able to use Rune Prison less for last hitting and more saving it and making sure he's able to find counter engages or find escapes. But here comes a 3-on-2.
Uh-oh, there's a bear and a cow coming at you. Brunju, you're in trouble. He gets bounced, he gets slammed, he gets flipped, he gets destroyed. The explosive cast comes in, MIA goes bouncing, and wow, that's a whole lot of meat feast coming in for you there. That
was an amazing gank once again by Dignitas. Skara, with impeccable precision there, actually saved the explosive cask until it was like, okay, now you're going to be coming back in. Like, we have the free kill on the Brent. You don't need you here. I'm going to pull MIA back in and find you. Really, really great move.
Wow. Nick Wu clearing out this top lane though. Kiwi Kid's still got a big grin on his face, despite the fact he is losing out this lane pretty heavily to Nick Wu, and it is going to be the first turret of the game. Oh no, he's in trouble. The one more tower hit's going to do it, and Kiwi Kid, that's why he's got a grin on his face. Look at the big smile.
That was a very, very impressive move. We're seeing them over and over again, just awesome moves by all these guys. He was actually forced out of lane. I think he was looking for a recall and said, actually, you know what? He's overextending, and he thinks I recalled. He, like, you know, gets the equalizer, the flash combo. Like, really great play.
Really very good play, and everything so far being set up so nicely by Crumbs and Patoy. Honestly, every kill so far has been all about them. 10-2 in kills so far, 10 minutes into this game. It is a fast-paced killing spree from Dignitas. Oh, and Crumbs this time is going to walk straight in, but he doesn't even care. He gets pulled in by MIA, but he continues to just hang around, and they did no damage because it was a support and a jungler. They could do nothing.
But the funny thing is, if Loudermorris had walked into Patoy and Crumbs, he probably would have died. So just the power difference there between these teams right now is actually fairly significant right now. Really only Nick Wu's having a great game. Chuper will eventually skill that game, but they're going to go in on QtPie.
Going in on QtPie, flashes out, puts the cleanse down as well, but I think he's going to get caught out. The apprehend from Nick Wu pulls him in, and it's Chupa that picked up the kill. Skara was off at the side there, could have possibly thrown out the explosive cask, but I think the fact that that many skills were used just to get that single kill on QtPie, it does mean they're going to try and force the dragon.
They would have had Scar for free if he landed that right there. He's going to go in, though. He's got the ult as well. The burst damage is going to be so amazing.
They're bouncing him around, but Skara does go down, and Crumbs picks up the kill on Chupa. Now Loudermorris is the target from Patoy and Crumbs. You talked about it earlier, this combination, this meat feast of cow and bear towards Brunju. They're keeping him at bay.
And Nick Wu is going to find Kiwi Kid. This is actually a pretty decent fight for Nick Wu if he doesn't get interrupted.
And he is going to call a lot of damage down. There's going to be the ulti coming off, and Kiwiquid now is going to get straight in. The Flame Spitter is just burning away on towards Nikwu. The ultimate comes out, but the dunk's there. Nikwu gets dropped though, and it's Crumbs that picks up the kill. Brunchu goes flashing in for Kiwiquid, and he does manage to get the kill.
So they do get that trade, but you're just seeing how disruptive Dignitas can actually be. One of the name of the top laner that Nikwu is playing, Darius. So one of Darius' big weaknesses is that he is only melee range and he can't really bring himself to a target. So when Dignitas has so much crowd control with Alistair, with Gragas, look, everyone on that team has some decent crowd control, even the Equalizer there and the Electro Harpoons. It is hard for Nikwu to do his job. He just needs to be so tanky he can withstand that, and he's not there yet.
Scara now with that Morellonomicon. He has been finally locked in, so he's going to be putting more and more damage down with the cooldowns. QtPie returns to lane. He's going to go back and complete that Bloodthirst. So, well, it looks like Brunchu is actually rushing the Blade of the Rune King, by the looks of it, with the fact that he's got that in there. Let's see whether... So that's how a lot of Nikwu, despite the fact Nikwu's had that big advantage, he had to get that Hexdrinker in because he was worried about the damage from Kiwikid, and Kiwikid's kept up very nicely with him.
But the funny thing is, yeah, that Hexdrinker is really a lane itemization item. He picked it in order to withstand the damage, be able to dive him and survive that, survive any sort of counterattack, and just deal a bunch of damage. Well, that laning phase is going to end. You can see him really forced in team fight, and you can see that Dignitas can deal damage back to him very, very easily. Now Brunchu is going Ruin King to try to kite against Volibear. Crumbs is putting a lot of pressure onto him, and Brunchu needs to be able to survive that because he doesn't have... I guess he does have a pretty good defense crew, but even still, he's going to get dived on.
It does look like Dignitas moving in for the Dragon. Our Complexity going to try and fight this one. 13-5 in kills. They are down in gold, but it does mean they are going to keep Dignitas away from this one because Patoy wasn't there. We just saw Scara going across, actually, just using that slam to get across and go towards that tri-bush. Brunchu is going to keep him at bay. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, Complexity going to try and rotate round. Could they try and pressure in the mid lane, or are they going to have to deal with QtPie and Scara in this bottom?
Well, right now, Dignitas are more powerful. Their champion lineup really spikes hard in the mid game. Gragas, Rumble, especially Draven, they all just do amazingly around this time in the game as their base damages are starting to get maxed out on their basic abilities. They don't scale as hyper carries like Ryze, but they have a lot of damage right now, and that's why you saw them go for the Dragon. They're going to actually come back for that right now.
Chupa going aggressive here. He's going to get the Rune Prison down on Crumbs, but look at that. He's just like, meh, don't care.
Yeah, they're pretty safe overall, and you're just seeing Dignitas try to make things happen because, right, default 5-on-5, they know they're stronger.
They do know they're stronger. Complexity are going to try and maybe force this one. Patoy this time is in position. There's the ultimate being thrown out from QtPie to reveal everybody. The barrel just lingering off the side there. They still haven't finished off the Dragon here. Patoy is ready. They are all clumped together. There's going to be the explosive gas. There's the pulverized catches. 3 of them. Bounces them in the air. It could well be a bit of a mixed grill here for Dignitas. It is going to be a dunk coming down. Patoy is also continuing to keep them up. He's going to have another kill down. Nikwu getting the double. Can they turn this one around? Oh, is Complexity going to get fried? It looks like it's going to be Nikwu. He's trying to get in. The dunk comes in. The triple kill. But it's Nikwu that's going to get away. No! Scara tries to get him down. He's going to try and dodge out. Can he just dodge one more barrel? Goes into the bush. Tries to calm down onto Scara, but the belly of Scara just melts down Nikwu.
What a great pickup at the very end there. But of course, Complexity did win that fight 3-2. And well, they've got a good mid-game spike of their own, of course. Darius had a field day in that battle, now has a Giant's Belt. He's finally picked that up, so that's actually very, very important for him. And what you saw there was Volibear went in there, and against most teams he would survive, but he got dunked on, and then you saw him just sort of pick up kill after kill after kill. Nikwu was able to clean that fight up so successfully. Dignitas' engage, honestly, it was a little rough there, and that's kind of how he got those openings.
He's a big, scary bear right now. He's got the Runic Bulwark completed. He's 6-1-2 right now, Crumbs. Absolutely playing fantastic and creating every opportunity that is arising for Dignitas along with Patoy, and there is the gruesome twosome in that mid lane of a dancing cat. I mean, when you see a bear on his hind legs and a cow, then you know you're in trouble.
There's a lot of beef there. There really is. It's going to be hard for Complexity to break through that front line in a lot of
you
cases.
can't go 1v1 within this time. This bear is going to get flippity-floppity on you. He comes in towards MIA. He doesn't flip him, actually. Realizes he doesn't want to chase into a hidden bush.
No, he doesn't really want to go for that one. It gives MIA the chance to counterattack him, put exhaust down, because that Q also doubles as really his only escape tool. It gives him a little bit of movement speed on the way out as well, so Crumbs saving that, being a little bit more safe. But so what's interesting basically here is that Complexity, I think, has the late game edge because they've got Rise, and he's actually having a really good game so far. Trooper, by 17 minutes, already has tier and a completed Rod of Ages, and that's actually a really massive thing.
They're going to push the mid lane here. Complexity, I think they're going to get it because everybody is away from this one. It's only Scara that's trying to keep them at bay, while the rest of Dignitas, they're pushing the top lane. You can see QtPie, he's off in his own. It is going to be the top lane for Dignitas, but they're not keeping the pressure down. Only Scara is the man keeping 4 members of Complexity at bay there.
Well, he's got such good wave clear. He's Gragas with a decent amount of ability power. He's going for a Death Cap, I assume. I mean, it could be Zhonya's. I assume Death Cap, but he's got the needlessly large rod on top of the Morella Nomicon. He basically one-shots caster minions. You can't easily push against a Gragas who's prepared for you if you're not going to dive him. And Complexity, it's hard for them to dive. They can, but it has to land the Q, or Brunchu has to land the ultimate. It'll be difficult for them to do that.
So Brunchu trying to farm out, trying to keep up. He is actually just slightly ahead of QtPie in terms of farm, but you can see 1-4-5 does not equate to a 2-1-2 for QtPie, and he's got that Bloodthirster already complete. Looking at the gold, you can see it's just a 400 gold lead for QtPie. Not the greatest so far when you look at the rest of the team. When you look at the kill scores, 15 and 8 in terms of kills and 4,000 gold advantage, but it's not really that. But look at the mid lane. It's 1,000 gold for Scara, and more importantly, the jungler. It's 1,600 gold advantage for Crumbs.
Yes, and that is actually, of course, massive because he's been getting all the kills for his team. And the kill lead, you know, giving them 7 kills, giving them 2 turrets. The Dragon did go and get picked up by Crumbs in that last fight. Yeah, that's where the 5,000 gold lead comes from. And Dignitas, again, this mid game still exists. They're still stronger on the map. As long as their team fight goes properly for them, they're able to steal away blue, push turrets, and Complexity kind of has to wait.
Oh, the hook being thrown out, but really wasn't the champion you wanted to go towards. That bear is pretty scary right now. Blue buff is going to be taken by Crumbs, and actually, what was it? Scar, I didn't know. Both got it on him either way. They are going to push in towards and take this turret down. Complexity going to try and fend it off. They may have switched around, and it's going to be Louder Mornings. He's been caught about. He gets flipped. He gets headbutted. He gets pulverized, and now he's going to get belly dashed and explosive cast. But he survived all of that damage, and Louder Mornings, with the help of the lantern, walks away.
And that was an amazing... Oh my gosh, they're going in again.
Apprehend, actually. I think it was Nick Wu that pulled them in. Instead, he wants to get the dunk, but he's not going to be able to get it. He does manage to get Crumbs down, though. But just before it ends there, and Complexity, they're in a 1-for-1 right now, but it's their top laner for the jungle.
Well, it's, of course, a very farmed jungle, so hey, killing Volibear, honestly, it was worth shutdown gold the first time. Less so this time around. But what I want to point about that fight, though, was what Complexity's teamfight is going to look like. Because they've got Curse the Sad Mummy into Varus ult, meaning that no one can leave before Varus ult spreads. So they've basically got a 3.5 second AoE route, and that is just going to be a playground for Trooper and Nick Wu. Trooper, again, he's had a great early game. He picked up the kill there onto Crumb, so he's actually scaling amazingly. Again, is on Rise, who is a late game beast of a champion. And Nick Wu, he's now tanky enough that he can easily set up those kills, bring people down. If he wants to execute, he can. He doesn't even have to, though. He can just sit there, put damage onto everybody, and let them all bleed to death.
Bleeding to death is potentially what Darius wants them to do. Get those dunks going, which he's already done once. He got the triple kill from it. But QtPie is going to be looking to stop him. Every time I see Kiwi Kid in that corner, he's got a grin on his face. This guy doesn't stop smiling.
Well, he's playing video games, and video games are fun.
And he's getting paid to play video games at that.
Also awesome, and he's winning.
And he is winning as well, and he's doing very well in the league. 8 seconds before the dragon spawns. They are going to continue that mix of meat for Dignitas. Can they try and force this one out, though? Patoy with the Oracle. Look at Crumbs trying to get in there, but the lash comes out. They do manage to get the Runic Prison on him, and they keep him at bay. That's how you tame a bear, with a big lash of Thresh.
Indeed, it seems to be working pretty okay. Now, they're just going to play this dance for a while, honestly. The initiation, it'll end up coming from... so it might come from an explosive cast from Gragas, or it'll come from Patoy just going for... He actually goes for a flash pulverize and then headbutts his target into the team. QtPie, though, this is so amazing from Dignitas. They have control, and they're letting QtPie solo this without any ward coverage, and Complexity is none the wiser.
Because he's got that Bloodthirster Zeal already at level 12, he's doing it without any issues at all. And now the moment they caught wind of it, you saw Dignitas just move around. Full defensive formation, great clearance there, very well played by QtPie and the rest of Dignitas, forming the defensive linebacker, I believe it is, if I'm to use an American term.
Yeah, pretty much. And what's great here as well is, right, Dignitas kind of gave it up. Complexity's finally got their way across the map and was like, oh, they did take that. Oh, that was cute. So they have a rough timer. They'll know roughly when that comes back on up. Complexity, I don't think they can push mid. This is their thing is they don't have to. Once again, they've got Rise and they've got a great team fight composition. They can wait for the game to play out over just a longer period of time, and that's all right for them. But Dignitas, right, they're sort of outplaying Complexity. They're finding blue buffs to steal. They're finding dragons to take away, turrets to kill. So if Complexity doesn't make any moves, you kind of feel like Dignitas will keep progressing past them. But at the same time, if we just kind of wait for 40 minutes or so, Complexity's in really good shape.
Well, you do see the equalizer coming out from Kiwi Kid to keep them away from that mid turret. At the moment, they thought they could get a sniff. A swing at it. The axe was not allowed and the lantern came in there. And this is, you know, if you know Scarra's history, you know that he used to be a chess player. And this is effectively what we're doing right now. It's real-time chess, real-time strategy to keep your pieces maneuvering around the board. And Scarra seems to be doing a fantastic job of that, leading his team.
Yeah, and one thing to point out when you get into these weird games where like there's split pushes everywhere and you've got strange farm in different spots is to look at minion kills. Because whoever's winning in minion kills tends to be the one who's finding the openings much better than the other team, and you're seeing a slight minion kill lead. Now, remember that Nick Wu was heavily up on Kiwi Kid in the top lane, just in the heads up, and that Chuper was actually heavily ahead of Scarra as well. And now you're actually seeing an overall lead for Dignitas. So this like weird run around the map, do crazy things, is going in Dignitas' favor. They're actually snowballing ahead by doing this sort of thing, and that's, you know, again, great play by them.
Oh, the explosive cast thrown out, but flashed out by MIA. Saw that coming a mile away with his good eye.
Wow. All right, so back to the game. Now, so I've been kind of looking at the builds as they progress. What's been going on? So, Brunch U actually didn't go all the way towards Ruin King. He just wants the on-demand slow from the Bilgewater Cutlass to slow down that Volibear, or if he can actually land and engage, slow someone down to actually go for pressure. But generally speaking, it's self-peel. But the Runic Bulwark is a little bit interesting from Crumbs because there's only one ability power champion on Complexity, and again, they just get a blue steal. Like, they've got control of the map.
MIA getting disrupted there. Kiwi Kid getting caught. The Runic Prison going down. The rest of Complexity not following through on that, though. Chupa trying to keep the pressure on. Did burn his ultimate, but it's back up very quickly. And look at this. Cutie Pie, again, no cares given. Just walks straight around there and just goes back into the lane. Despite the fact they knew that 4 people were there. They have got a ward on that blue buff, so they saw them pass back to the side. But they could easily just be going around the back.
What was interesting about that last fight as well, though, was that if it weren't for Crumbs smiting away blue... Oh my gosh, Cutie Pie was Chupa.
Cutie Pie going aggressive here, and he's actually going to chase through. Chupa is going to back off from that one, but now we see Thresh coming out, throws out the ultimate, not going to land though, and this time it is going to be Cutie Pie being chased by MIA, when that means the support. You can see the jungler actually coming down. Cutie Pie tries to turn it back around on towards MIA. He's going to get some lifesteal, going to get some bleed on there, and Louder Morris is actually a long way away. The hook comes out from MIA, keeps him bare, gets the lash down. Now MIA is in trouble, pulls the exhaust down. The rest of the team are collapsing on towards Cutie Pie, and Chupa comes back from the base, delayed him just long enough for Louder Morris to come in and get the kill with the bandage toss.
That was a good pickup there overall. MIA really just felt like Cutie Pie was about to get out of that engagement, even though he was being surrounded, but he burned a lot of his own cooldowns to make sure that Cutie Pie wasn't going anywhere. So it worked out. Great play. Again, Lantern and a teammate. A lot of good moves. But so that prior fight, though, if the blue buff weren't smited away by Crumbs, Louder Mortis would have actually been able to bandage toss to it and start a fight in really good position, because you had Kiwi Kid caught up on the wrong side of that fight. You would have seen Complexity follow up on that easily.
Baron being started off here by Dignitas, and you know what? I'm not sure if Complexity are aware of this one. They are going to see MIA coming around. Oh, he's only put the ward down there. Maybe just going to catch a glimpse. It's going to be a barrel. Oh, look at the damage coming straight out. MIA is going to get melted. Louder Mortis can't even follow this through. The Varus ultimate from Brunchu misses. It does force them away from the Baron, but it's another kill picked up for Dignitas.
Just look at how farmed Scar is as well. He's got Merlinomicon into Death Cap, and then a Void Staff as well. And of course, MIA's exhaust was down because of that prior engagement where he picked up the kill on Cutie Pie. I'm just very impressed by Scar's ability to say, okay, I can make this one a kill. I'll go for this right here. I'll flash over the wall, but it's 300 gold. It's a good job.
I kill you.
I kill you.
Zero kill hero, I believe is the phrase, and it seems to be working very well for Scar at the moment. MIA came around that corner. Chupa's trying to keep himself farmed up, trying to keep up the CS with Scar, but it is a hard job for him to do. 290 to 238, and as you mentioned, very scary Gragas right now. He's got some big barrels on him. 415, the Rabadon's Death Cap, Void Staff as on there, as well as the Morellonomicon he had very early on. Meanwhile, well, Chupa's going to build up that damage slowly but surely. He's going to become a scary beast on Rise, and it is going to be the middle turret finally going down. It's been a hard-fought battle, that one, for Complexity. They do finally get it down, though.
Yeah, so they've actually almost equalized the turret kills right here. You notice that QtPie, by the way, Chupa's not even able to try to stop him there. So as far as 1v1s go, no one is really able to deal with QtPie's Draven. He's rushed the Bloodthirster. Interestingly, he went for a Phantom Dancer here. I normally see him go Static Shiv because he'll run in and just land one basic attack and just proc a whole bunch of damage at once, and it's like chunk down the enemy AD carry. In this case, it's actually not that way. He's actually building it a little bit more of a sustained damage dealer.
Well, you know, considering this was, what, 15-2, I think, at one point. Complexity have actually kept themselves in this for quite a long time. That gold is still only 5,000. It is about to get stretched here because Dignitas will pick up that Dragon. That's going to take it to a 6,000 lead. 17-10 in kills, 4-2 in turrets, but Complexity are not out of it yet. They've proved so far in the team fights they can kind of get in the right place at the right time, but it's so heavily dependent, like you mentioned early on, about getting the right target.
Yes, this is going to be a game really all about sort of team fight progression and what happens from that, because they're close enough in gold, and the team compositions are so different, really, that in the way that they fight, that you can't just say, oh, whoever has more gold is going to win the battle, because it's so explosive. Right, you've got a lot of area of effect crowd control. Both teams can pick up a straggler immediately and execute them right away. You've got Gragas Burst and QtPie for the chase down. You've got Nick Wu with the execute. Chuper and Loud Mortis and Brunch, you all have amazing catch. MIA has amazing catch as well. Like, this game is just going to be decided on, did someone give away a kill for free and get caught and give away Baron? Like, there's a lot of variables here. You pretty much want to consider both teams equal and just say, look, if someone gets a great team fight, it's all over.
Kiwi Kid, as you mentioned, he did fall behind Nick Wu for a long time, and it looks like Nick Wu has kind of recaptured some of that farm advantage that he had early on, and he kind of needs to be, because he's now the main man, effectively. Chupa, of course, is going to put some damage down, but it's going to be Nick Wu that's going to be in there fighting. He's got that Sunfire Cape, but still lacking a lot in the damage.
Yeah, he is. I mean, his goal is just to be a tank, though, because they've got a late-game Rise to do everything for him. So all he really wants to do is just put up you know, that apprehend in the middle of the fight once everyone's locked down, or to pick someone up, put a bunch of bleed stacks, and then, hey, if someone's going to get away, just drop the dunk at the very end there. But his goal is to be a frontline tank alongside a Mumu and Thresh.
I'm trying to see if he got the steal. He didn't. Chupa has it on him, so Chupa managed to get on that one. The explosive cast was thrown out from Skara, though, but the reset on that one is pretty quick. It's not going to be too long before the cooldown comes back.
But Kiwi could use his ultimate as well. Complexity can fight this.
Oh, Louder Mortis, the flash. He does manage to use Curse the Sad Mommy, but all he caught was minions.
Oh my gosh, he might have got Skara mid-body slam, but certainly not enough to make him die. They looked for the engage because they knew two ults were down. They couldn't find it, though.
Well, I'm a QtPie is on the inhibitor turret while this is all happening. Now they know that the Curse of the Sad Mommy is down. They're going to go full tilt, full aggression, pushing towards Complexity. Chupa's going to come across, but he knows, as you mentioned, he can't fight QtPie, and QtPie is just going to burn down this inhibitor turret. He's ran out of minions, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the team now coming around, and we've seen this before with QtPie. He's quite happy to tank it up. He takes it down, throws out the spinning axe, and walks away.
That was an amazing split push there. That looks like just textbook Dignitas over and over and over again. They find those split pushes. They find the ways.
Oh, wow, on mid as well.
To get the turrets, man. It's a great fight by them.
Yeah, and Dignitas, they may well go for this one. Oh, we see him going full on aggression. There's the explosive cast coming from downtown there, slam dunking them away. And it is going to be Dignitas continuing the pressure on towards Complexity. They're going back Baron ways again.
And this is one of the great things about Gragas, especially with Blue Buff and Morellonomicon, is that the cooldown on his ultimate is so low. It's only 48 seconds. You can use it every second minion wave, basically, and you can use it as a poke tool. Back in the Season 2 North American Regionals, Reginald kind of commented against his first round opponent saying that their AP mid didn't really know how to play Gragas properly, because he saved the cooldown so much. Like he said, like, it's actually a really good poke tool. It does a lot of damage with a low cooldown. You use it to wear your opponents down. Just toss it out there and see what sticks. And that's what Scar is doing here, is just finding openings, tossing it out there, and saying, you guys got to back off now.
You're going to have to force him away. Louder Morris, of course, because the Sad Mommy is not available. But the Bandage Toss does land on Crumbs, but There is nobody there to back him up, and he's that tanky. He's got that runic bulwark. He's got the locket as well, and he's got another giant spell just to add a little bit of insult to injury. He is very much stacked with health.
Yeah, that is going to be a very hard guy to kill, and it's smart by him as well to go for health specifically, just because, you know, he's fighting true damage there from Nick Wu, who will probably look to execute him if he possibly can, and he's fighting a mix of damage types as well. You've got a lot of magic damage coming from Chuper, and a lot of physical coming from Brunch Yu. Like, yes, Varus does some % health damage, but realistically, you just want to be a health tank more than anything else on Volibear.
Chuper was possibly thirsty there, the way he ran in towards that barrel. Thought, I need a drink now. Oh, no, that's the wrong type. PewDiePie back down this bottom lane. He's going to keep pushing up there. Skara keeps a glimpse on Nick Wu. He's going to get a good court on him there. Does manage to pull the apprehend. The explosive cast comes around. There's going to be the curse to Sad Mommy, the dunk from Nick Wu. And it's going to be Kiwi Kid going down as well. But this time it was Chuper that picked up the kill. That was a 2 for 0. A good exchange. PewDiePie backs off, and he's just going to hide himself in that bush. And they're going to try and take an advantage from this one. The problem is Complexity can't go aggressive.
Oh,
and now MIA is caught out. Lashes them out. Crumbs chases it down, but backs away. PewDiePie is still going for this one. He goes in towards Nick Wu. Nick Wu in trouble. Apprehends, pulls him in, but it's going to be the death of him. And now PewDiePie gets caught down. Gone just flashes away. Crumbs comes in to save the day. He's going to see the lash come out. MIA gets in there. He gets flipped, puts the boxes down, and it's going to be Crumbs that's going to take him down, but it's taking so long to kill him off here. Brunch Yu, meanwhile, is still chasing. Still the bear is not down. Finally, that big, angry, hairy mother has gone down.
But Dignitas also bought enough time that even though it was a 5-on-3 on the map, they completely prevented a Baron attempt. This team does not have enough poke to stop a Baron 3v5, but just amazing positioning. Like, yeah, they traded a 1-for-1 or so, but that's actually pretty good. They traded 1-for-1 and stopped Baron. Like, that was an amazing move right there. Nick Wu got caught out, and yet even still, PewDiePie got away from that one. So that was actually really nice cleanup there by Dignitas. But that's what I was saying earlier, right? These teams have such good catch that you can just find someone going down out of nowhere.
And you just saw how quick Gragas, while doing a lot of damage, gets absolutely smashed by Nick Wu if he gets caught out in the wrong place at the wrong time, because he's got no health stacked on him. He is pure damage right now.
And normally you're okay to do that on Gragas. You have Explosive Cask and Body Slam as defensive disengage tools, and you tend to burst someone down anyway. They don't even have the chance to counterattack you, but Nick Wu is tanky. Nick Wu has Apprehend, Nick Wu has a slow, and Nick Wu has a flash as well. And so Skara, none of those tools are going to work there.
None of those tools are going to work, but PewDiePie continues to get farmed. He continues to do a lot of damage, but Brunch Yu, he's sneaking at it. He's got that Infinity Edge along with the Blade of the Rune King. Now he's got another pickaxe in there. Last Whisper will be coming out, and that is actually going to start causing problems for the likes of Crumbs, who has built himself so tanky. He's going to get burnt down quickly, but Dignitas we see engaging on Baron.
Yeah, and so, you know, I kind of take it back, where, you know, the health stack, it might burn him back down. You can see a good counter engage. Now they've got a ward over the wall. It's running down very, very quickly. They've got to go for this right now.
Oh, good explosive cask. Is he going to cause him away? Brunch Yu goes for the snipe. It's not going to happen. Crumbs manages to get the smite in there, and he does manage to keep them at bay. PewDiePie wasn't even involved in that, and that's how strong Dignitas are right now. Now they're going to push up. It's going to be a 5-man Baron up team going straight mid.
With a 7,000 gold lead, of course, some of that in their pockets, but still, they are the stronger team on the map. Complexity, they do have everything but the box available. That's up in 4 seconds, so by all rights, Complexity has all their ultimates. Remember that Dignitas don't really want to fight a 5v5. Kiwi Kid and Skara both burned their ultimates to stop the Baron re-engage, so they will poke. They've got good long range, but they won't all in here.
They won't all in. Skara is going to keep pressuring on towards him. Remember, this is an exposed inhibitor on this bottom lane, and Patoy with that Oracle clears out the wards. Skara again shoves those minions on while he buys time for PewDiePie to keep pressuring the mid lane. Every time you see Skara somewhere, expect PewDiePie to be coming up another lane and keeping pressure on towards your tower.
And you're just seeing the poke really available here from Dignitas.
He's on the inhib right now, while Dignitas, look at this, he's keeping 2 people busy over the side.
And this mid lane, of course, still under pressure as well. The poke, even Rumble has poke, especially with the Leander. He's doing good damage. We'll see if they can look for an engage anywhere. They're not able to just yet. Latimortis is just kind of swinging around the side. You've got an Alistair waiting across the wall. The same for the Rumble. Skara is just omnipresent here, and they have the ward coverage that Scarra will know if someone goes for an engage, he can always body slam away.
He is going to get hooked in, but I don't think they can follow that one through. The spear does come through. The spear? It's a big spear coming out of a bow.
They found Nick Wu, though, they engage.
They found Nick Wu, and they're going to go in towards him. He does manage to pull the apprehend, and immediately the lantern saves the day, but it does mean the main damage dealer is forced away from the turret, and that does give them, Dignitas, another opening to take a turret down.
That was really, really good from them, and you can see that they're just sort of liberally using their ultimates just for momentary openings. Even if it doesn't result in a kill, they find turrets off of that. And again, turrets are worth more than kills. If you ult for a turret, that's worth it.
Turrets win games, as do Nexus, and that is what they're pushing towards. Now it's 6-2 in turrets. Dignitas with the clear advantage. Scarra quite happy, realizes that nobody wants to really get close to him, juke him. Laudamortis though coming out with those home guard boots. Could he turn towards Kiwi Kid here? He hasn't really got the team backing him up because he went so aggressive. There's going to be the apprehend coming out from Nick Wu. He's going to go aggressive. Can he catch on towards Patoy or Crumbs? No, forced away, and Scarra continues to be omnipresent in the bottom lane.
And you can just see, though, that apprehend, having the Alistair there is actually rather useful because he's like, great, I'm in pulverize range now, and free disengage. So that's been really useful here for Dignitas. I want to see if they can grab a Blade of the Ruin King just to follow up a little bit better. They do land the slow. Like, they can force a hardcore engage.
Here comes the Scarra's just around the side though, and there is the explosive cast, knocking them all away. MIA gets taken down. Curse of the Sad Mommy catches everyone down though. Can they turn it in their favor? Chupa does manage to pick up a double kill before he goes down. Scarra's taken very low. We've got the bleed on. Oh, the apprehend didn't quite land, and now Brunchu gets dropped by Crumbs. It's a triple kill for Crumbs. He's on for the penta. Here comes the rest of the team. Patoy comes around. It's Scarra that picks up another, and now Laudamortis, he's running his little legs off to try and get away from this one. It's going to be the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor taken for Dignitas. They can just rotate round to bottom and pick themselves up a second.
Oh, what an interesting fight that was. Both teams kind of lost their main damage dealers fairly early on, and you saw really Nick Wu not able to follow up any kills. He actually didn't use his ult at all in that fight for any executes at all. He couldn't quite land it onto Scar. He was not in range really to hit Crumbs. Of course, the funny thing about that, the Volibear ultimate, to get the numbers down exactly, is when he drops below 30% health, he heals for 30% more. But 30% of Volibear is like 1,000, and that is not in execute range for Nick Wu.
That is a lot of damage, just going to heal straight back. So Laudamortis did what he could to keep them at bay, but nevertheless, Dignitas pick up 2 inhibitors of Complexity's base, and that stretches the gold lead to 9,000 right now. Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen, over 9,000. 7-2 for Dignitas, 22-15 kills, and wow. This is a pretty lively game, I've got to be honest, between these two. The fact that we've already got 37 kills, 39 minutes in, it's impressive.
That makes it not very lively.
It does make it lively.
If they're dead, how are they lively?
Oh, God. There you go, Freak.
All right, so, Complexity, what they need right now is for Chupa to stop dying in fights because he is their biggest damage source. Now, he did get the Seraph's Embrace. That mana shield is helping him survive. But again, he was one of the first 2 to die from Complexity in that fight. And that can't happen. He is the team's huge damage source here. Now, he's going for a Frozen Heart. He's got a Runic Bulwark on his team. That's all good.
Nick Wu, you are dead, man. He's going to try and run away from this, and the rest of the team do come around the side there. There's Laudamortis. He gets pulverized. Brunchu's onto him. Does manage to force Patoy to use his ultimate. Now they can turn it towards Crumbs, but here comes the damage. Curse of the Sad Mommy. Oh, explosive cast just melts Scarra. Brunchu's trying out of this one, and Dignitas are going to clean house. Nick Wu's in there. He's trying to dunk. He gets a double kill. Can he finish off? Can he get another dunk? There's no damage more coming out for him because Brunchu goes down, and now MIA. He's only got the lash, but he's got the bear. He tries to tame it, but it's not going to happen because the cow comes in. You mess with the bull, you get the horns, and it's going to be a double kill for me. I'm a cutie pie. Can he turn it into a triple? He goes on towards Chupa. One more axe will do it. There it is. The triple. Chupa got the kill back, and now Laudamortis. He's got a big angry bear and a cow chasing him down. There's no meal for you tonight. You're going to go.
That was just really strange as well. MIA had his ultimate available that entire time and waited till the last second to use it. I guess he was baiting for Chupa to clean that fight up, but the disruption from Dignitas kept him from chaining down Cutie Pie and then kind of returning back to the rest of the team. So when we go back to the start of that one, we pointed out that Crumbs is getting all the kills early on. Started out 6-1, but of course now there's just minions in their base, and no one's alive yet from Complexity to stop this.
Well, as it is, Patoy is going to teleport back. Maybe the super minions could finish the game, I don't know, but Crumbs is certainly going to have a good go at taking down this turret. You can see Brunchu has respawned in there, but he's got a hell of a lot of super minions knocking down his back door, and MIA needs to do it. Brunchu might die to the minions here. The shield has to get thrown out. He's trying to keep them at bay. Nick Wu will get in there. He's going to try and keep them off. He should save the turret for just a moment. The Nexus turret there, Nexus itself, I should say, not the Nexus turret. The turret's got already beaten down, and wow. Just wow. Dignitas showing their true power in this game and looking like they're going to take yet another win. That would take them 3-0 along with TSM this weekend.
Yeah, and of course, it's because of really amazing plays by these guys. You're seeing a lot of items, but really, really great play overall. I gotta say, Crumbs has been doing an amazing job. He found so many ganks early on, snowballing Dignitas ahead. And the story of that game was Dignitas, I think, really having an amazing mid-game. They've capitalized on it. They've got map control, the inhibitor's dead, and this, I don't think they can stop this Baron.
I don't think they can stop it, but Louder Mortis is going to come around, throws out the bandage shots, misses, and now he's being molested around the Baron, and there's QtPie. The Axe finally finishes it. They just roll on back in and pick up that Baron, and now Patoy clears out the waves. They have one inhibitor up, they have no turrets alive, and Chupa just seen the face on him there. He realizes, I think it is time to concede this game, ladies and gentlemen. 42 minutes in, it's going to be Dignitas rolling home for victory.
Almost certainly here. 5v4, Baron buff, no turrets, almost 3 dead inhibitors, and 40 seconds till out of Mortis. They'll go for one last stand, but Dig can run right through them here.
And here we go. The bear goes in. He flips on Nick Wu, and it's going to be diving in there. MIA. Chupa gets bounced. Nick Wu gets bounced. There they go. Crumbs picks up another. Brunchu flashes away. He's like, no, you're going to keep my stats. You're keeping my KDA away. And it is going to be Dignitas with another win, going 3-0 for the weekend. Fantastic performance once again by them. But Complexity, they took them to 42 minutes. That's not a bad performance.
Yeah, they've been performing quite well, Complexity overall. You look at, I mean, I say that like...
Well, they did the same with TSM as well. I mean, right. that game they should have won.
They had a lot of difficult opponents. I say they performed well. They did go 0-3 on the week, but at the same time, you know, you look at Dignitas' other games, and they were, I would say, a lot more convincing. Complexity has done a really good job of holding their own. They do look strong, right? Even though they are, you know, down towards the bottom here, you know, again, an unfortunate week for them, it was 3 losses. But you do see the glimmers there, right? You see them able to put up really good games against the best teams in the league. They're, you know, again, far from a blowout. I'm just so kind of conflicted on this because they obviously fought really hard. They did put up a really close game. They can't quite close them out.
Well, what gets me for me is how much these effectively lower teams are leveling up. You know, the fact that these guys are going to come up against, obviously, the amateur teams that True managed to qualify when we have the up-down series, and they're all pretty scary right now. And you've got to really give it, the amateur teams are going to have to give it some serious oomph to try and get up there.
Yeah, and it's interesting, though, because they've got a lot of skill on themselves as well. Like, we talk about TSM's new AD carry right now, Wild Turtle, how strong he is. He was the AD carry for Cloud9, who qualified into the amateur tournament. So you've got players like Wild Turtle, like, biting at the heels of these teams who are clearly able to stand up to the top teams in North America right now as well. So, you know, kind of on both sides, right? Complexity looks really good. They almost can beat Dignitas, and they do sometimes. At the same time, you've got teams full of people like Wild Turtle who, like, destroy teams all day as well. So you've got a lot of scariness, really, at the halfway point.
Well, speaking of scariness, let's check out, of course, it is the last replay, the big ace that happened at Dignitas, really into what turned the thing. I don't know whether it's what turned the fight, but I think they were already had it in the bag by now.
Yeah, so right now it's Nick Wu and Crumbs, and the thing is, Nick Wu's trying to bait his team in because he got Loud and Mortis coming from the side, Brunchu as well. Patoy with a great lockup, but here they find, okay, we'll go for Patoy. Perfect ult here, perfect Rumble ult as well, and look at Brunchu. He's got so little that he can do on the right-hand side. The explosive cask into Rumble Burn just takes him completely out. Now watch Nick Wu, right? He's got good early damage. He finds one, he finds Scar right afterwards, but there's no AD carry, and Chuper, he's not doing anything. He's stuck in the back, afraid, not able to come back in, and MIA right here, full mana bar, has the box available, and he's like baiting the team back in. He'd go for QtPie hardcore, but there's too much disruption available. Watch as Trooper still tries to come in. He gets flipped back there by Volibear, trying to goes for one last attack, gets headbutted away as well. So he did, you know, MIA did save the box to say, look, we can bait this, wait for QDFi, okay, go. It was a nice attempt there, but he had built himself so much distance that they couldn't capitalize back onto it. Trooper has to use his own legs, has no long-range skill shots, has to get into that mid-range. He couldn't find it.
He could not find it, and that was really the story of the game. Dignitas too strong towards the end. Of course, after the break, we'll talk to both patoy and KiwiKid from Dignitas, and then we'll see where our teams stand at the end of the week. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Interview Couch. Freak here, joined by patoy and KiwiKid from Team Dignitas. So guys, you went 3-0 this week. What changed from last week?
We took the reality check from MLG. It opened our eyes every time we play international teams, and we just stepped up our preparation, and it turned out well.
So what was that change in preparation?
Before, we would speed through picks and bans. Like, we would stick with the plan, like ban this, this, and this, and then no matter what they did, it wouldn't change. So like we took it slow. We realized that if there's like a pattern in their bans, like this certain like poke or something like that, then we would realize that and then change accordingly.
Was there anything like that that happened in this game?
I don't think so.
Or at least the weekend?
What's that?
Was there anything like that that happened this weekend where you, oh, we should change our plan?
I I think we just did a better job preparing, like kind of scouting out heroes and stuff. And I guess like we had a break week before MLG, so I think we kind of got complacent or like kind of lazy through that, which was really, you know, it's all our fault. But yeah, I think that's what happened.
So the week off actually hurts you guys more than it helps.
I believe so.
Okay.
I would say so.
Oh, that's fair. So then you mentioned scouting out heroes, preparing for the teams. Like, how exactly do you prepare for matches like this?
We actually try to make a game plan before we actually see any games, but we adjust it accordingly to see what works and stuff. Like, we take some bans from other teams if needed. We prioritize some certain champions all of a sudden if we need to, just stuff like that.
Do you have any examples from this week, or is it just a general sort of rule?
I don't think I'd rather not say.
That's fair. No, I guess so. Revealing your secret is probably not the best
for
idea.
Sure. Especially since we're still playing every team.
Of course.
Maybe towards the end of the season.
At the end of the regionals, you're going to tell everything. I'm going to hold you to that.
Nope, I'm not. I didn't say that.
That's a definite maybe.
Maybe, yeah, definitely, maybe, definitely, maybe.
Season 2 doc will reveal it, or Season 3.
All right, that's fair. We'd be looking forward to see that, of course. You guys are kind of considered innovators in the league. You guys pick unique stuff like the support Elise we don't see very often. You guys are heavily doing 2-on-1 mids. Would you consider yourself innovators as well?
Not as much as people say. Like support Elise, that's been done billions of times. Like 2v1 mids, like it's been done before, but like basically we don't do things like on support. I did like TP earlier. Like we don't just look at it like you absolutely need this because everyone always does it. Like we just like see something, we like analyze it, see like if something would be better, then we just go with that. And if people call it innovation, then we're in a step in the right direction, I guess.
That's good for you guys. So I actually want to bring up that 2-on-1 mid situation because it's a lot more new this season. We didn't see a lot in Season 1 or 2. What kind of strengths come out from that 2-on-1 mid?
If, like, say, purple side, they 2v1 top more often, but say if you do it mid, then there's more pressure if you get the mid tower early over top, because if you get top, then it only translates to, like, the jungle, and mid, you get a little more pressure over. From mid, you can roam both sides of the jungle. There's 3-man, 4-man dives open, so taking mid earlier as a side to a side lane, it opens up more options.
Do you have to... what sort of conditions need to happen to say, yeah, we'll 2-on-1 mid this time?
It just depends on, it doesn't depend on the AD and support more so over than every other champion. So it depends on your top your 2 bruisers, the AP, and the jungler.
Okay, so then, for example, you guys had Scar on Gragas there. This is a very specific question, but basically, blue buff spawns on the top side of the map, and you sent him without blue buff at all. It just seems like Gragas doesn't need it.
Blue buff's always nice in 1v2, but the main thing is like an EXP buff, so we just try to give him that if we can, and he's doing well.
And notice he shared XP with Crumbs on both Lizard and Double Golems, is that correct?
I think it was just doubles. I'm not entirely sure how they do it. We basically just like split off on our own at level 1 and just take as many camps as we can. So.
Okay. Of course, it seemed to work for you guys. Your mid lane, by the way, was really strong, I think is a way to put it. Can you walk us through like what kind of went through that mid lane?
Mid lane 2v2, they missed a couple hooks, and they took a few steps too far, so we punished them for that. And because I think Cutie got 3 kills on Draven early, I just constantly roamed the map. I never went mid after the second set of kills.
Okay. Now, Kiwi Kid, for you, your top lane seemed a lot more difficult. So you showed Rumble. So first of all, is Darius a counter pick?
I mean, many people consider it a counter pick, but I've actually played the matchup quite a lot.
So, I'm sorry.
Contrary to what, I mean, the game didn't really support that, but believe it or not, yeah.
So what happened then?
To put it simply, I got bodied by Nick Wu. To put it more like elegantly, I guess I went definitely what won the lane was obviously the kill, but before the kill, I got hooked when I went for the minion creep, and he chunked me to 50%, and then that way I couldn't lane at the turret, which I tried to anyways, and you saw what happened. Because Darius can burst you that fast, so yeah.
Okay, so what do you do when you get down like that? How do you come back into the game?
You pray that he makes mistakes, which he did, because he got really greedy for that tower, and I'm sure he really kind of like is kind of hitting himself for it, because it allowed me to make a play, because I mean, I got a free kill, and I was down 30 CS, and I got a free kill on him, and red buff, I think, too. So maybe.
Yeah, I think it might have timed out by then.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
Okay. But still, I mean, obviously a great play from you, of course. I want to kind of take it a step back, talk about picks a little bit. What sort of picks do you guys see that you prioritize that everyone else seems to forget? Like, I don't know if that's kind of a weird question. Like, for example, like Diana and coL are banned against Scarra, like, all day, every day. And no one else seems, at least in Diana's case, no one else seems to prioritize them, really. Why do you think that is?
I think that's just, like, Scar's own thing. Like, everyone has their mains. Like, it's out of, like, they're out of the main pool of OP champions, and his is just Diana, and he's done it to where Diana is now OP, the good champion. So he has lots of like fancy different things he does early game with Diana, so he's really good with that. And like say Kiwi's Elise or something, Rumble, my Alistair, stuff like that. Cutie's Draven. We just play our fun good champions that we're used to, and we just play it better than the OP champions. So
all right. Well, thank you guys very much for your time. Again, congratulations to your 3-0 victory this week. Still in second. Hopefully you guys can dethrone Curse pretty soon. But again, congratulations. Great job to you guys. And of course, we do have Kobe to break down some of the best plays of the day. Kobe, take it away.
Thank you, Freak. I've got 2 clips for you here today from those games. The first one is basically just Smithy against the world going for the Baron steal. Now you can see we set up, CLG is 10k gold ahead of Vulcan at this point. They've already taken 1 inhibitor from the base. They're feeling really great. They're going to go for this Baron, but Smithy has something to say about this. All right, let's roll this clip. Watch him come in here. Look, Minotaur Cloud's so far away. Smithy's just going to have to walk in here. He just walks right up to Chowster. They both have their smites. Let's pause it right here. All right, note the Baron health. 471. That's so low. Either smite could take it at this point. It's basically just Smithy, faster fingers than Chaucer. He takes it away. Psycho Sid, a little bit of help here, zoning on the outside. And then we're going to have a nice little Thresh ultimate come here, put up the box so he can zone out the rest of CLG and give Nidalee the time that she needs to join the rest of the team so they can't get any kills off that. Let's play this in slow-mo. Here comes Smithy. He gets the Baron steal. Then they're super happy. He's going to sacrifice his life for this, but that's basically it. After that, CLG can't chase because of the Thresh ultimate, and they walk away with the Baron. Starts their turnaround. Chips that lead down a little bit, too. The second clip is going to be from this Dignitas complexity game. Very back and forth. Took a very long time to get this point. Right here, we have Nick Wu. He's going to flash in, get an apprehend on both Cutie Pie, who's the main target, but he also wrangles this bull, and that is a mad cow you don't want to mess with. A perfect pulverize from Batoy gives Cutie Pie a little bit of time to get out, but then they have an ace in the hole here. This Amumu is going to come in. Loud Immortus lands a good flash ultimate. Let's roll this one at full speed. Here we go. There's Nick Wu. He's going to flash in. This is the initiate that they wanted onto Cutie Pie. So they actually followed up with a very good ultimate from Varus, but here comes Loud Immortus. Pause it again. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members of Dignitas all in that Amumu ultimate. Always love to see from a jungler. But Brunchu right now, he gets a little overconfident. He takes out Kiwi Kid. Then he steps a little too close to the bear. Crumbs turns around. Let's play it again. They're actually going to end up turning this one Dignitas' favor. After Brunch goes down to Crumbs, here, he steps a little bit too close. Oh, there's the aggro from the bear. Turns around. No more damage left from complexity. They're able to turn this one around, and they just go right into the base. That's their first inhibitor, and they wrap it up from there. All right, so after some very long back and forth games, guys, let's give it back over to the desk.
Little did they know they were playing an RPG and they pulled aggro from the bench. You've got to be careful about that. Of course, we have reached our official decision here. The end of week 6, the North American LCS. Here is what the teams, how they currently stand in the league. Of course, it is going to be cursed. They are still top of the league. They are 12-2, but Dignitas snapping at their heels. They are 14-4 after 3-0. TSM also gone 3-0 this week, 12-5, and they've stretched a huge gap over Counter Logic Gaming, 8-9, now being chased by Vulcan.
And you can see they're only a couple games away. They're literally one loss out right here. Vulcan at 7-10, Marn at 5-10, Complexity 3-12. Unfortunate week for them. Tied now with Good Game University, also at 3-12.
Now it is time to honor MVP of the week for leading Team Solo Mid to their first perfect week in his LCS debut. We have, of course, picked up Wild Turtle for TSM. Fantastic start for him.
He played amazingly. He was the first pentakill in the regular season for the North American LCS. He went 24, 10, and 21. Like, that's a very, very, very good score for your showing week. And actually already leads the league in gold per minute at 437. Hey, when you win and you get a bunch of kills, it tends to happen. But again, an amazing performance.
Yeah, just play 3 games and win them all. And who would have thought?
Pentakills give you gold. It's weird.
Who would have thought? Of course, be sure to tune in on Saturday to see the European LCS. That's going to be happening in Lille. Fantastic show that should be. As we mentioned before, we'll be starting the day with 2 major challenging matches. It's going to be Meet Your Makers taking on TCM Gaming, followed by Mistral battling out against Team Alternate. They'll all be fighting for a shot to play in the LCS later this year.
And when we get into the pros, SK Gaming takes on Giants after their big upset win. And after that, it's a rematch from last week with Against All Authority taking on Evil Geniuses. That's all followed by 3 more big matches. Guys, go to lolesports.com to get all the info and to vote on who you think will come out on top. It all starts Saturday at 3 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central European Time.
Yeah, don't forget to miss Fnatic versus Gambit. That's going to be a huge game happening on the Saturday. And anyway, the North American LCS returns. It's going to be a different day next week, ladies and gentlemen. It will be on Saturday the 30th, and we're going to be having 6 big matches. Kicking things off, it's going to be another round of that classic rivalry, Team Solo Mid versus Counter Logic Gaming. We'll see if TSM can bring back Chaos, or will they stick with Wild Turtle? That's going to be a definite item to keep our eyes on. Will the drama unfold over the week? Next, of course, it's going to be first place Cursed taking on Dignitas. Some massive games beginning that day. Up 30 will be GGU. They're going to be back from their break, and they're going to be taking on Vulcan.
And of course, that's followed by Complexity versus Marn again. Marn beat him today. We'll see what happens next week. Our 5th match features 2 of our top teams duking it out with TSM versus Dignitas. And last but not least, CLG will take on the #1 team in the LCS, Curse.
So some huge games next week, and sadly, Freak, you won't be here to cast them.
I won't be, but I will be in Cologne casting the European LCS for 2 weeks. So if you're in Germany, come say hi.
Say hi. For those of you lucky enough, of course, to be at PAX East in Boston, we wish you an awesome weekend of gaming. That is it for us here. I am D-Man on behalf of Freak, Kobe, the entire broadcasting crew here in California. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday. Good night.
Link, what's the CD on Zed ulti?
And this is going to be a massacre for Team Solo Mid. There goes the odd one, picks up a double. Oh, he's giving us the guns.
Get him! We can dive! Get him! Get him! Dive it! I'm gonna go guard him! Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him!
Tanking.
Yes!
MIA goes down, Heartbeat goes down, Nick Wu trying to get on towards Flaky D, he can't get on his brother, it's a triple kill coming out.
I don't know why I don't know. Do we need a swap or what?
In comes Smithy, can they get the steal? Is there enough?
He got it!
He got the steal! Zuna picks up 1, picks up 2, he's gonna get the triple kill.